Hi everyone, and welcome to our latest 3D tutorial. My name is Michelle Folkman and I work with an LSTA grant-funded initiative at the Jackson Library on UNC Greensboro's campus. Our mission is to teach librarians and others about making and maker tools. This is our third tutorial on 3D making, and if you would like to view the others, you can see them at the web address on the screen. If you're brand new to 3D, you may want to take a look at those first two tutorials so you can get your feet on the ground. Today we'll start out by revisiting an application that we covered before, Tinkercad. I'll show you how to build a custom stamping block, which you can then 3D print and then use with either ink or paint in your own projects. After that, we'll take a look at a method for making lithophanes. The application is called Image to Lithophane, and here is the web address. And if you don't know what a lithophane is, that's just fine because we'll show you. First up, we're building a stamping block like this in Tinkercad. We can build the block using the geometry that's provided in Tinkercad, what's over here, or use the Inkscape technique I taught in a previous session. Here you can see an example of the finished 3D printed stamp. You can tell that I've used it when it was printed, it was all one color. By the way, I used polyurethane to seal the print so it would be more smooth. I think it worked pretty well. I'm going to use the Inkscape technique first, and I'm going to use this flower image that I made. I prepped the image in Inkscape using the trace bitmap function, saved it as a plain .svg, and now I import that into Tinkercad. And here we are. Our next step is to add a back. I'll bring in a cube, size it using the handles. Notice how the dimension pops up, which is useful if you're working on something more precise, but not really useful for what we're doing here. Now I move the flower onto the backing. And move it around. Now here's a little hint. Using this handle, I will make the flower part a little bit taller so that it can reach down into the ink or the paint more easily. And finally, I group it. It becomes one solid shape. You can download the object for 3D printing by going here and saving as a .stl or a .obj. Or you can just order a 3D print from one of these providers. So this is great, but notice this object is symmetrical. What do you do if orientation matters, like with text? If you lay that text out to read right, it will print backwards, yes? Let's build something really quick, and I'll show you a trick. To speed things up, I brought in and sized the backer already. I want to show you an interesting tool. It's a feature called the Workplane. You use it by selecting it and then clicking on the face of an object, and it makes it so that any of the work that you do goes automatically to that face. Now when I add things, they will snap right to the top of the model. Now I'll add some text. And scale it. Move it around, scale it some more, that's good, that's good. Now group them, and I'm ready to use the stamp. But you know what? When I do, the text will be backwards, right? Well, here's an easy fix. First, I'll move the object over to the side a little and grab a handle and drag to the side, and now the model is reversed and the printed image will come out right. And that's making a stamp. By the way, I had really good results from this using acrylic paint on cloth, so this could be a cool t-shirt idea. Now let's take a look at making lithophanes and image to 3D. What is a lithophane, you say? A lithophane is an etched or molded piece of 3D art where an image is modeled in bas or semi-relief so that when it is lit from behind, the molding or etching appears in shades of gray. You're looking at an example. On the left is the object, and on the right is what it looks like when it's lit. They were first produced in the late 1820s. Originally, they were done in cast porcelain or carved in wax or maybe wood. Well, here we are in the 21st century, and these days we use a 3D printer to create lithophanes, and it's simple and something anyone can do. Like most things, there are various ways to accomplish this, but the simplest one I've found is image to lithophane, and you can find it at the web address on the screen. This is a fully online application which is dead simple and really fun to use, and it works like this. Start out here. This is the basic interface. Go to Images and load your image. One with a plain background works best, but I've had luck with other backgrounds as well, so try your image and see. Then click where the image name is in the green bar, and you'll be taken back to the model screen. Then click on Refresh and the application does the work for you. Something you need to know is every change you make, every time you change a setting, you must hit refresh to update. For this application, it's really good to have a mouse with a scrolling wheel because that's how you zoom in and out. We got some nice detail in here. Now let's play with the shapes. I like the outward curve. Once again, click Refresh. Something that's good to know is that if you zoom in and you want to get back to the full view, Refresh will do that for you also. Now we can play with the settings. Be careful when you use this part. The software is a little sticky, and if you click a bunch of times, it could make the software crash. I go to Image Settings and change this to positive, back to the model, hit refresh. Yes, I like that better. Now I want to refine the model. I think it looks a little plain. I go to Model Settings, increase the thickness, add a border, changing thickness here too, and a base, and put the curve at 45. Click back to the model and hit refresh. And now we have a finished product suitable for printing. Over here is the download button. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to download the model. Here we are in the Makerbot software, which is the preparation software for our 3D printer. Everything looks good, and Makerbot tells me that this will print in about 4 hours. And here is the final result. Pretty good, don't you think? Suitable for gifts or decoration. Today I showed you how to build a stamping block in Tinkercad and how to use image to lithophane. If you're interested in finding other making resources, I invite you to check out our LibGuide at the web address shown on the screen. Thanks for watching. Now it's your turn. Go make something.